Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Homes Real Estate Podcast. Today, we're talking about VA closing costs. What can you roll into the loan, and what do you have to pay up front? Stay tuned. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Homes Real Estate Podcast. I'm Peter Toering.
And I'm Chris Vanbelle.
And as you guys know, we are realtors in Southeast Michigan here with Coldwell banker Weir Manuel. And we want to talk today. We do a lot of VA here because we have Selfridge, Tacom, General Dynamics, a bunch of other military installments here. And so we have a lot of vets rolling in and out of Southeast Michigan. And one of the big things that we hear is, I thought my VA loan was $0 down. I thought that meant I would have to bring $0 to the table. Not true.
Well, there's a big difference between $0 down and zero cost. There's still other costs associated with the loan, no matter if it's VA or not. It's just the down payment, just a downstroke.
And so we wanted to take a couple of minutes and kind of dispel some of the myths of VA loans here. So the first is that it's no cost at all. That's obviously not true. It is $0 down payment. It's also 0 PMI, which is really nice, which is personal mortgage insurance. But there are some other costs that you do have to pay. Now, we also want to talk about because I hear a lot of stories of, I got this rolled in, I got this rolled in. There are certain things that can and can't be rolled in. And remember, we're not loan officers. This is just speaking from our experience here. So,
correct.
First one is our VA funding fee. Let's talk a little about that.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. Well, we say no PMI, but you have your VA funding fee.
Right, which is normally about 2% of the purchase price, somewhere in there. And it does, if you're a first-time homeowner, it's a little bit lower than if you've used your VA. The more you use your VA loan, the higher your VA funding fee gets.
Yeah, I think it starts possibly in the 2% range for a first time, and then it'll go up. It'll climb just a touch over 3%.
Yeah, so that's something to kind of look at. Now, that is a fee that can be rolled in to your loan, so that's something that you can add on. It's not necessarily something that you're going to get smacked with at closing. Now, you are going to have, too, all of the standard kind of fees. I guess one other VA fee, it's not specifically from the VA, but would be the loan origination fee, which you'd have in a regular mortgage as well.
Absolutely.
And that cannot be rolled in. That's normally between 0.5% to 1% of your.
That sounds about right.
And then you will have all of your escrow fees, which you can't get out of. So title fees, you're going to have tax prorations, state taxes, things like that. So years worth of homeowners insurance. So those things are, if you want to learn more about the closing costs in general, we have a separate podcast just about closing costs, I believe. But we do see a lot of times that we can get some of this stuff covered, even if we can't have it rolled in, covered via concessions.
That's a good thing, and I'm seeing people actually getting them a little bit more. But you can come pretty close to zero out of pocket. With some of the concessions. Isn't VA 3%? Is that where it caps?
You can cap 6% total. But I would say that in our market at least, I'm not seeing anybody get 6%.
No, and I think usually 3.5%. That's what I was thinking. Usually 3.5% will take care of you pretty well.
Yeah, especially if you're rolling in the VA funding fee, 3.5% should be more than enough to cover you. And now that being said too, you don't want to be asking for too much in concessions because it's not like, hey, you're getting a check back if you have too much. They can only be used for certain things. Right. So, if you've got a little bit of money left over at the end, tack on a home warranty or something else. But you are looking at, like I said, probably about 3.5% of your closing cost. And if you talk to, we've had, I always have vets come in and say, well, my buddy got, didn't pay anything. How long ago was it? 8 years ago? Was it, was it our market was really bad? They were trying to sell. The other myth that we have is I've heard quite a few people say, well, I didn't have to pay an earnest money deposit.
Baloney. That's garbage, man. I'd like to hear that one.
Now, that being said, could your earnest money deposit be refunded to you at closing? Possibly,
if you got enough concessions,
but you're definitely not getting out of it up front.
I've seen that more with like the Mishta or the I can't think of it, the country loans, RDs.
Yeah, but we do see it with VA. So that would be kind of the long and short of it here. Is you still are, if we can kind of sum this up in one sentence, it's there's still closing costs. You can roll some of them in, but you are still going to be responsible for, like I said, probably about 3% of the purchase price in closing costs.
And then you got a couple things that you are going to pay out of pocket right away. You're always going to want to have personal inspection. You want to have your own inspector come take a look at the house, and that's going to come out of your pocket.
Probably $350 to $500,
and that can't get rolled in.
Nope.
And then your appraisal also. I'm not sure if most VA lenders are rolling that in, but a lot of times you have to give your credit card for that too.
Yeah, most are not. You're still most of the time paying that up front. Sometimes they will pay it as part of the closing costs. So then obviously tack on an additional $500 to $600 as part of your closing cost. And then one other kind of ancillary cost there is the pest inspection or the WDI, which a buyer cannot pay. So it's either eaten by inspector or seller or something like that. Normally about $100. The other cost you can have, if for whatever reason there has to be a reinspection on the appraisal, that can be an ancillary cost as well.
Right, and then if you're talking about things you don't pay, our broker fees, our record retention, whatever you want to call it, we can't charge those at all. The VA will not allow it.
Right, and there's certain lender costs as well that cannot be passed on to the buyer too. And I don't have those off the top of my head because I'm not a lender, but there are some of those lender fees that can't be charged. So you do save some money. Like I said, sometimes you get hit in a roundabout way with the VA funding fee. But if you're looking at a VA loan, definitely there are some ways that you're saving money. So again, I would put my general rule is 3.5% of the property plus $1,000 for ancillary costs is my general thought.
Yeah,
and I think it's pretty safe. So cool. If you are thinking about also if you're wondering about what your entitlement is, you now in Lapeer and Macomb, I believe it is up to $480,000. At least in Lapeer County it is. I'm trying to remember what Macomb is. But if you are thinking about a VA loan, it's a great time to do it. VA rates we just locked somebody in at 4.1, 4.0, something like that. So their rates are looking good. If you were thinking,
they're actually a little bit lower too.
Oh yeah. So and they're the joke right now is with how rates have been is if you don't like your lender's rate, come back tomorrow and it might be different.
Yeah, that's so true.
But yeah, if you were thinking about a VA loan, give one of us a call and make sure. I know we said this before in other podcasts, but please make sure that you don't just hire your buddy. They might be a great agent, but when you get into the VA stuff and getting VA offers accepted, it is a completely different game. You need an agent that has experience with VA, a lot of it, because you can get into some deep weeds really quickly, and you need a good agent to help you get out of it. So same thing with a lender. Use a lender that uses VA quite a bit. So cool. Thanks so much, guys. Follow the podcast. Follow Chris and I on Facebook and Instagram. Peter Toering Realtor and Chris Vanbelle Realtor. I think mine is facebook.com/HomeMacomb. We also have the Homes Real Estate Podcast YouTube channel. Well, some is audio, some is video, depending on how ambitious we are that day. And follow the podcast on SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, and all the other places you find podcasts. Thanks so much. We will see you next time.
Take care.